Okay. So, you got a list. Here's the order of the list that it's in.
Uh-huh. This was the list in order of timeline for everyone's favorite game.
Tupac, Biggie, Nas, Corrupt, Eminem. How you doing
All right,
this?
we're gonna be going down this in order of mental release. Let's see. We talked about this was technically from last week, where they totally lied to Sony and Microsoft in cert promises to get Cyberpunk out on the new consoles, but that came up last week. So the
If it was my list, I
very
would have said
first,
Kendrick, guys. That was quoting Eminem. Go ahead.
the very first thing that occurred with our good friends over at GOG.com, the distribution service owned by CD Projekt, was that Red Candles announced that finally the pulled horror game Devotion was going to be released on a major distribution platform, and that Devotion was finally coming to GOG.com after being pulled from Steam earlier in the year due to a controversy over a Winnie the Pooh joke making fun of China's head of state. They announced this, and then 4 hours later, GOG.com came out with the statement. Earlier today, it was announced that the game Devotion is coming to GOG after receiving many messages from quote unquote gamers, emphasis mine. We have decided to not list the game in our store.
Oh,
which
Christopher Robin.
led to a bunch of indie devs like pulling their games off the service or not going to that service in the future.
There's no honey to be found in this pot. On GOG.
Not a single one. Capital W the Pooh gamers.
Not
All right.
capital X the poo.
Sure. I don't. Yeah. Strategy guide for Cyberpunk's endings releases, describing that 98% of the game's in-game dialogue has no change on literally anything at all in the game.
Okay, so the first one is weird because it's just a GOG related thing that's like getting wrapped up in the story.
Yeah, it's not about Cyberpunk, but it is the same parent company. So, they described that the game's endings are actually entirely dependent on a single dialogue choice that you make near the end of the game, meaning that Cyberpunk's ending situation is the same as Mass Effect 3's obviously very popular ending.
What you're also saying indirectly is that truer choices are offered by Quantic Dream Games.
Very, very big truer, more true choices.
That is a unfortunate state of affairs.
Yes. Following that, on December 17th came the big one. Sony decides, you know what, everybody? We are going to offer all of you refunds for Cyberpunk 2077.
Well, so that's where I would have started this, because when we last left our heroes, they were telling everybody to go ask Sony for refunds, leave us alone, essentially. And Sony did not catch wind of this until the angry group showed up at their door. And they're like, they told us to come here. And they're like, what the fuck?
They told you to come here?
They didn't tell us that they told you to come here. And people are like, so what's going to happen? And then...
Well, okay, guys. Everybody gets a refund. Yay! And we're going to just pull the fucking game right off the store.
Everyone gets a refund, including the people who haven't bought it yet.
Everybody gets a refund. You get a refund, and you get a refund.
If you were
I
thinking
didn't even
about
buy
buying it,
yet.
here's your refund.
We
Unspent money back in your pocket.
I'm a big fan of the mentality that Sony decided to delay Cyberpunk 2077 manually.
Well, I mean that's one way of looking at it, but not alone in that circumstance. That's a big one because, of course, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yeah, you're looking at bad internal standings, as stated last week. You do not fuck around with conditional waivers on people. Hardware manufacturers are not going to take kindly to that. But at the very least,
what if I did fuck around and then told everyone that you would pay for it?
Well, who's gonna pay for it? Sony. Yeah. The thing with the not fixing of the bugs and the waivers is that when that stuff happens behind the scenes in private, it's still like away from consumers' eyes, and all in all, there's negotiations happening and they can work it out with you. The moment you do some stupid shit like actually make it a public thing, now you are damaging the brand and you are hurting their bottom line by making people perceive the company as like taking their money and, you know, stealing from them essentially if they're not getting the value that they purchased. And that is damaging and bad. So now it's like, okay, you know what? No, fuck you. And it becomes very hostile. And it was not a surprise at all to see that turn because, yeah, so many things happen behind the scenes when games go to get shipped that get really heated and crazy going back and forth between publishers and hardware manufacturers. But as long as it's not public facing, it all comes out in the wash. And the next product you have, the next game you have, they're going to look at it and they'll go, well, based on your history, this is where we stand with you. But you're still here. You're still releasing this product. If CD Projekt was a smaller studio, that type of shit is grounds for getting your dev kits taken away. Free. Instantly. License revoked. Done.
Send them back, please.
In this instance, that's not what happened, but they like just went, okay, this is how you want to play it. Fuck your game then. There it goes.
You're going to really enjoy the next round of CERT.
Then all eyes on Microsoft, right? Which is part B.
Well, part B is December 18th, one day later. Xbox offers full refunds to everybody, but does not pull the game due to what I assume, personally, is because they have a co-marketing deal with CD Projekt, and there's too many balls in the air to actually pull the game while having to advertise it for not being there.
What they do, however, is remove, or rather, they update their refund policy for anyone who purchased the game, so that like it's basically like, yeah, not going to be as stringent. And they put a message up on the store, which puts a little warning that says, let me get the exact phrasing. Essentially, hey, if you're buying this game, you should be aware that users may experience performance issues when playing the game on Xbox One consoles until it is updated.
Oopsie whoopsie, the game does a little bit of a fucky wucky. Please still buy it, though. Part C, later in the day, Best Buy allows returns of opened Cyberpunk copies.
You know what's kind of nuts, too, about that type of message and like this thing with Sony is like sitting right next to Des on my PS5. I boot it up. Is the early access Temtem build,
Yeah.
which is in early access.
It's also a good. It's in a decent state.
Yeah,
Like the
but
day
but
one launch of that game was fine.
but Sony just opened up the door to games that are not finished being purchasable and being allowed on their platform, whereas prior to this, only PC would let that happen. You know,
I'm sure if CDPR wanted to put a fat early access sticker on Cyberpunk's release on the PS4 store, things would be different.
people would still be making fun of it because of how long it took to get to early access. Make no mistake, this would be a very different series of events right now, right? Everyone would
Yeah.
look and go, yeah, all right, clearly this is early access. That is a correct label. However, what the fuck were you doing for the last 8 years?
Not a lot, I guess.
But instead we're looking at like, no, this is the finished product. It's fine though. You can't use your own footage. It's fine though.
Mhm.
And
Don't
that
worry
just,
about it.
so that just creates a what I might call turbo hostility
Yeah.
around the release. You know, but like, yeah, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years to early access is, man, you guys botched this shit. But okay, it's an early access, and that's what it looks like. You know, it would have been more honest.
So, following all these very fun refund news is we get a description of a non-leaked but still media covered internal video meeting between the devs and management that happened on December 18th, which could only be described as people asking questions and being fucking pissed, and management being like, don't worry about it, bros. Developers asked blunt questions about the company's reputation, the game's unrealistic deadlines, and the relentless overtime. Let's see. The two ones that I can remember is the devs asking, why did you tell everybody that the game was playable back in January when it was actually a fucking mess? To which the response was, we will take responsibility for that, which I don't know what that means. And my favorite was, how can you make a game talking about how corporations screw over the underclass while simultaneously forcing crunch on your developers? And the only thing I can find about that is, quote, the response was vague and non-committal, end quote.
So what that is using the bearded blonde man meme that confidently says yes. So why is the game so bad? Yes. Except,
Yeah,
no, this is not the time for that confidence. This is not. This is
mistakes
that's not
might
going
have
to.
been made. It was a long development process, and
Your chiseled jaw and demeanor will not save you here. The question is still the question.
the takeaway from that internal meeting is that management botched this. The average dev probably did a really good job, and they're super mad that they got crunched for essentially nothing.
I feel bad for Mr. Breathtaking himself, who thought this probably was a sure fucking thing, and
Totally.
always leans into science fiction and cool things like this, and is working, and like, there's a new Matrix on the way, you know.
Yeah, totally. I feel bad for Michael Ponson.
Who?
The creator of Cyberpunk.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's true too.
Yeah.
Anyone
That's,
who
you know,
anyone who was basically looking at this
Smith?
like this is gonna
Same difference.
Um, and then those questions, kind of were unsatisfying and led, if I'm not mistaken, to a certain group.
Oh, but we're not there yet because you wanted to do this sequentially, right?
Sure.
December 18th, later that night, the Cyberpunk Reddit discovers that crossing a 6 megabyte threshold in your save file causes dramatically increased load times. Crossing 8 megabytes on your save file on PC causes it to corrupt itself and become unloadable
That's correct.
and die.
Fortunately, there was some advice.
There was some advice. I have got to scroll down to get that advice. When they were talking about it on the forums, oh, do you have it?
Yeah, the advice was quite simply, unfortunately, the save as damages cannot be recovered. There's a message that occurs for corrupted files that exceed 8 megabytes in size. GOG advises players to keep a lower amount of items to avoid corrupting save files.
All right, that's good. We'll come back to that later. That's a fun one. A young woman out in Australia discovers that the Xbox One game cards for Cyberpunk, did you even see this one?
I sure did.
Have botched company logos. And in fact, the CD Projekt Red company logo is a image missing logo.
Broken JPEG.
It's a broken JPEG icon.
It's the equivalent of
When people didn't believe her, she showed a video of her walking up to a stack of the fucking things and picking them up, and then linked to it on JB Hi-Fi's website. You can go and look at. It's an Australian chain. Oh no, you can't because they took it down.
I mean, like that. That shows you, first of all, how automated the process is. It gets on shelves without somebody verifying that print. Yeah, no, like it was set up in a file, and then someone took the file and popped it in, and then they went straight to the press, and then they just fucking cut everything out, and that was that. And like it's got a broken JPEG on it. I mean, fuck, like way to replace the IGN watermark on the Okami box art for now most obvious flub.
It took a long time to fucking beat that one, didn't it? Like, what was that, like 2004 or something?
Wii remake, yeah, something.
All right. Oh, we're getting in there. We're almost done. All right. The head of the studio, a man named Adam Badowski, the project lead, studio lead, the man steering the ship, who's in the analogy is supposed to go down with it, gets caught liking a bunch of tweets of people going, basically, Avengers came out in a worse state. Where are all these people's refunds? And essentially end up just mass liking tweets defending the game and how it shouldn't have been pulled and how Sony is overreacting.
While I hate the phrasing of caught liking tweets, I hate everything about that.
Fine, sure.
But this is hilarious.
Now, I don't know Adam Badowski at all. I don't know anything about him other than he is the head of the project. But I did speak to a couple old friends of mine about potential situations. And these old friends all worked in the game business. They worked in dev. They worked in QA. And what came back was is that there is no fucking way this guy isn't directly responsible for a ton of these games' problems. In particular, the I had somebody tell me this dude seems like the kind of guy to play a cool game on the weekend, come in on Monday and go, "Man, that game was cool. Our game should have that." And just add another feature to the list. Now, again, I don't know if that's actually what's occurring, but considering the attitude this dude is displaying, I get a fucking hunch.
A room full of talented musicians can sit there with sheet music in front of them and play music together functionally, but a conductor is necessary.
Yeah. All right, following up, New York Times does a massive article just basically summing up everything. Only noteworthy because New York Times is a big newspaper, so now that's a mainstream, like, aha. The BBC was making fun of them. I don't know if you saw that clip.
I
BBC
did,
news anchor
yes.
literally rolling her eyes at the
Mhm.
shit show, going, "Well, at least you can get a refund." Yeah. But now we're to.
They should have made it work better, or whatever it
Oh,
was.
wow.
Yeah, they should have made it play better. Yeah.
And now we're to the second last, but probably biggest. As a response to the earlier dev meeting, where the devs were like, "Why did you tell everybody the game wasn't a pile of burning dog shit?" A law firm is running around asking investors, "How bad do you guys want to sue CD Projekt Red for tanking your stock price?" As of the last time I checked, CD Projekt stock was down 41% over the past 2 weeks, which, if you're an investor, means you just lost buku bucks
Mm-hmm.
on Cyberpunk.
Hey, you know how to pronounce that properly.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people look at this and go, "Oh man, class action lawsuits never go anywhere." This is slightly different. A class action lawsuit from consumers stating damages based off singular products often never goes anywhere because damages given to any individual would be low. Investors, however, could have pumped in fucking millions individually and gotten fucking hosed.
If they can demonstrate that the briefings and information they received about what was going on was demonstrably false.
Yeah. Because all you got to do is say, "They told us during this meeting that the game was on track for April." And we're seeing devs just come out and be like, "That game was a burning trash fire in April." That means you lied to your investors.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big no-no when you're a public company.
Now,
Big no-no.
whoever bankrolled the movie Cats, I don't think sued for the state that the movie came out in.
No.
But so, and I don't know what the precedent is with like undercooked media essentially resulting in a lawsuit that gets taken up based on the fact that, you know, essentially investors were lied to. I don't know what the precedent is here. I don't know how it plays out, but it certainly is a like punctuation at the end of the sentence of, yeah, these questions had unsatisfying answers. Well, then the next thing is a lawsuit.
Yeah. And
But it is a firm asking around, right? It's not
yeah,
the
it
same
hasn't been
as
filed yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically a law firm going, "Hey, investors, how bad do you guys want to sue? Do you want to sue real bad?" And a couple of them were probably like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about it."
Now, this is the part where I want to bring up that I've heard reiterated that the story is great and that, like, it will still...
I have heard the opposite and that, which is frustrating.
Okay. I've heard reiterated from different people that the story is very good, and that it's caged behind everything else going on right now. And if it were to be one that you could access without issue, that this would be a cool cyberpunk story.
That is a discussion for a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and last but probably not least, this might be my personal favorite, even though it's not the biggest. People on the CD Projekt forums are complaining that their save files are being annihilated by the 8 megabyte save bug that I mentioned earlier. Well, luckily, the forum staff are here to help you by telling you, this is my paraphrase, that it's basically your fault for playing the game too much. Here is a quote. Not all games are designed for unlimited, endless play. Not all games are designed for New Game++. CP 2077 as of now seems to have been designed with upper limits in place, end quote. Open new quote. The workaround for now? Don't do it. Play the game until the end, then start a new game. Don't continue saving and reloading the same character for too long. Don't craft thousands of items at once. And I will skip far down into this to come up with the analogy that this gentleman puts forth. Quote, patient, doctor, it really hurts when I do this. The doctor replies, then don't do that. Now the treatment can begin. So the official advice off the CDPR forums for, hey, my game is an unplayable, corrupted mess, is you played it too much. It wasn't designed to be played for 60, 70 hours. But I will go into detail. This bug was discovered when people were crafting shit zillions of items and to make money in the game. This caused your item IDs to go up, which meant that your save file would get larger. Well, it turns out that when you load the game, it also duplicates the item IDs of the items in your inventory. So loading the game also increases your save file size, which means your game has a limit.
Continues.
It has a limit. It will die over time. It will die on PC. For some reason, it doesn't seem it's not being reported on the consoles. So, well, I guess it's not.
And there's nothing there. There's nothing in place to unload what isn't necessary, to limit what isn't needed, to push the fence around. Yeah, of course.
So I went through that thread and discovered that all the people in that thread complaining, there were a couple that did a lot of crafting, but most of them were people who had played it for about 70 hours, more or less normally, and discovered that at that point, exploring, picking up items, loading the game, etc., the fucking thing just dies. It just won't go. And what's great about that, what's really, really genuinely incredible about that, was, I don't know if you guys remember, but a month ago, there was a news story going around based off the tweet from one of the devs that was like, yeah, so I've been playing Cyberpunk for 175 hours. And then they later had to clarify, no, the game isn't that long. That's a QA playthrough. Taking it real slow. But the answer is, in the release build of the game, you actually can't play it for 175 hours. Like, your save file
cannot handle
way before that. Like, way, way before that.
Maybe relying on, like, rest and quick resume helps the situation console-wise, so that you're not actually...
It's not actually a real load.
It's not a real load, exactly. And both consoles have an advanced form of, state resuming. So, whereas PC also does not.
This makes it a little more clear why in a PC focused company in a PC focused game, there's no quick save or quick load. An omission I thought was really bizarre that I now think is less bizarre.
It would die even faster.
It would die way faster.
Well,
Way faster.
Well, Infant, why did you jump in the pool? You should not have been near the pool. That's your fault. Don't go near the pool again, and you'll be fine.
There is quick save? Then I was misinformed. My B.
Oh, all right. Autocorrect.
I want to give a shout out to a fan of the show, Spider-Man, spelled with a U.
That's correct.
Who compiled this list of nonsense for me as I discovered that I had covered it so much during the week, I could not fucking keep track of it anymore. People are pointing out there's a quick save, but there is no quick load. Huh.
You did miss two.
I missed two.
You missed two that I came across. One,
incredible,
is just the amazingness that we referenced earlier. That is, occasionally when driving a vehicle, your character will T-pose from the driver's seat. However, when they T-pose, it appears that they do so, but their pants remain around the gas pedal.
Yeah.
So their ass is then exposed out the top of the car as you power
bare ass in it. Yep.
Bare ass T-pose driving down the highway, exerting your dominance over all that witness you.
It's a new form of T-pose, the assless T-pose.
Ultimate Chad move, absolutely.
Ooh, somebody in the chat just said deposing. I like that.
Deposing. Well, it applies to any model in the game, any kind of character. But that's a nice one. And then some people on PS4 were reporting that a hotfix that went out with the 1.05 version from 2 days ago led to people getting stuck on the options screen when they went to the graphics settings.
Great.
So a lot of people on Reddit and a couple other places reported the new patch gets you soft locked in the graphics menu.
That's great.
Last update. So there you go.
That's great.
For those of you that still have their games, because they're not taking away from you the old last gen versions. If you've still got them purchased, then you can still play them. They're just delisting it for anyone new. It's not like PT, where they're like scrubbing it. But yeah, wild. Absolutely wild. So, yeah. Check back at year 9. See how it go. That's all I can really say. I'm going to be checking back in a year. I'm just completely and utterly like... Because, yeah, I mean, I feel like with Fallout, with Anthem, with insert other botch launch of recent memory, the premise of the game was also one that like people were not really on board with what was going on. Well, no, Anthem looked cool with the flying and the suits, but I guess what I'm saying is that like Cyberpunk still has some shit underneath it that's like, there's some cool shit there. There's some meat I want to taste. There's some flavor I want to know more about. But I'm more than patient enough to fucking just pick that up and put it way the fuck over there. In the meantime, reset the clock 10 times a week, apparently.
Yeah,
because this is what it's going to be. It's not like it's not the reset the clock, wait 7 days, reset the clock. This is reset. Like let maximum. You know, yeah. That's a wild one, man.
Good game. Good job, guys.
I don't even know if it like constitutes a cyber dunk when it's just like 100% of the footage and news about the thing.
Yeah, like literally all of it.
It's all of it. It's every video that if you scroll on Twitter and see a video of the game, you know you're in for some shit if you stop to watch it.
Scroll.
There's no footage being tweeted out or linked to that does not consist of some shit going down, you know?
Oh, look, the cars are falling from the sky again.
Yeah, like Gene got a great one that just had a bunch of stuff going on, you know, and a car tilts over, the dude gets out sideways and he's floating in midair and then it explodes. I just, you know,
great.
100% of the fucking footage is just, yeah. You know, you can like I feel like again, not many games have had that level of just like concentration of where it's like it's oozing out of every pore, and then you have that clip with the guy going, well, you're certified bug free, just to fucking put the cherry on top. Yeah, not since the likes of Drake and the 99 Dragons has it been so clear and obvious, no matter what version of the game you look at. So that's Cyberpunk. That's the, you know, the most of it.